Hi, I'm doing a little work with the separation of duties or segregation of duties, and I've got a little project that I'm doing right now that I'm trying to work out if users have, financial type users have the ability to make or start a transaction and approve their own transactions, or potentially segregation of duties issues. So I've got a data set here that is basically what I would consider normal for a bank or another large company to have for identity access management, to have applications with entitlements and active entitlements, HR data, things like that for their users. But I want to go in here and I want to show you kind of what data sets are available first. So I want to say what data sets are available for this project with descriptions. And we'll take a look at that really fast so you can see, what is actually there. Info button up here, which I just showed you, does have the list, but this will give us a little bit more information. So it's going through and it's looking at the data sets and trying to figure out kind of what kinds of data we have available within this project to work with. And there you have it. We have about 15 or 18 data sets. We're showing 1 through 10 right now of the data sets. And you can see we got active entitlements, and it kind of gives you the descriptions and the key columns and the purpose. Authentication activity log. We have entitlements for all of these applications. We have HR events, terminations, hires, fires, etc. We have HR data, the names managers. We have entitlements created, and let's see what else we have. We have remove, revoke. We have more application entitlements, IP addresses for our network. We have some reference packs. We have some asset information about the applications, RTO, RPO, and then we have some VPN log activity. I don't know why we have that in there, but in any case, what I'm wanting to ask is basically if I'm an auditor and I'm looking for segregation of duty issues within my entitlements regarding the ability to create financial transactions and approve them. So I'm going to pause it so you don't have to watch me type this, but I'm going to type a pretty long query in that's very specific for that. Okay, fast forward to that. So I'm an auditor looking for segregation of duties issues with entitlements regarding the ability to create financial transactions and potentially approve them. This can be inside the same application or cross applications. Help me solve this using the entitlement datasets in this project. And I probably overly asked that question too. So this will probably take about, between 45 seconds and 60 seconds. What it's doing is it's not sending your data to the LLM. It's actually looking at all of this information that it knows about it, and it's reasoning through that and coming up with a methodology, a way to approach this. And what it's going to do is it's going to come up with a plan, and it's going to write a machine code, probably a SQL query, to try to go attack this and try to figure out how to answer the question that I had here, or the challenge that I gave it, using a machine code. And it's going to come up with a very deterministic method in how it is going to approach it. And we have the ability to see that and validate and verify that we agree with its methodology, but we also get to see the results, as you see here. And it took about 1 minute and 3 seconds. So here you go. It's pretty cool, right? So what it's doing is, if you look, it's basically taking a look at the financial entitlements. It's going across, I'm not going to read all this to you, but you can see it's a pretty complex. This is one big SQL, bunch of SQL queries, right? And here's the results. It's saying, all right, for this ID, user Edward McMillan, he's a business branch manager level 2 within this application. He can create wire transfers up to $75 million. And he also has the ability to verify, right? So he can create and verify, and that's within the same application violation, right? So, and it looks like we have a bunch of people, various job title roles that can do that. And so we have about 49 rows of that, and we can go through this and take a look. A lot of Forex people that have that issue. And in fact, it looks like it's mostly that one application. So I can do some analysis. We can do none of this data, none of the user information, none of the application information or anything went to the AI. It's all been contained within the system. But we can do some analysis now. Now this, when I do this analysis, this is where you have the option. You can push some of your data into the LLM so it can do further analysis. And this is going to only push the data that were a part of the output or results. So I'm going to tell it I am a SOX auditor. What is going on? And let's just leave it at that. All right, so it's doing a little bit of work for us here, and it's going to come back. This should not take very long. It should only be a few seconds, but it's going to do some deeper analysis on the results, and it's going to give us a short write-up on it, right? So basically, as a SOX auditor, you have a critical segregation of duties violation issue. The analysis identified 49 users across the organization who possess conflicting entitlements to violate the fundamental control principle of separating transaction. I'm not going to read this whole thing to you, but if you want to pause the screen, you can see it, right? So we've got some people who can create up to 75 and have approval limits up to 20 million. So I think that here's the important part. This query is done and examine entitlements across these applications with the late data. And yeah, so this is an old data set that we're using for this, and it calls us out on that, which is kind of funny, right? So if this is real life, it would be telling us, hey, you're using a pretty old data set there, guys, and you probably want to get a more up-to-date data set. So, and I probably need to get a better data set for us to use for these demos. But key points are, we had 49 segregation of duties violations, high dollar exposure, violations span all organizational levels, tellers, consumers, personal bankers, senior managers, market leaders, indicating systemic entitlement provisioning or role design issue rather than isolated incidents. All violations are within the application for these, and didn't see any cross-application SoD issues for this. Immediate remediation required, right? And so this is a really cool analysis now. Okay, and we have the ability to regenerate this analysis. We can ask other questions here, and we can just keep generating more and more analysis through this interface, which gives you more insight. And this is all cut and pastable into a report, and you can edit that up or to stitch it all together or create some reports or whatever. So anyway, so there's that, and I think it's a pretty cool one also. So I'm gonna save this and bookmark it. It'll show up over here in my answers where I just bookmarked that for this project. So anyway, yeah, that's it. And this is a pretty tailored type of a solution, right? We would probably want to make sure we have the right data sets and everything for it to do this type of work. Where it is missing data or like entitlement descriptions and things, it tries to figure these things out as best as it can, but it can save you, hundreds of hours of work, right? So anyway, that's it, and I appreciate you watching this video to the end, and that's it. Thank you. Bye.